Hi, my name is Lars and I'm sitting here together with Geoffrey Smith. Hello, Geoffrey.
Hi, Lars. My name's Geoffrey Smith, and I'm sitting here with Lars Mugen.
And yeah, and we are going to talk about breathwork and how you can become a breathwork facilitator.
Yep. And we cannot have enough breathwork facilitators on the planet, that's for sure.
That's
The
for
more
sure.
there is, the better it will be.
So we met each other at a breathworker facilitator training back in the 90s.
We certainly did.
And had a really good friend love story
We certainly
going.
did. Yeah. So I don't know if you remember it, but it was the very first day of that 6 month training. I was on part one, and you were doing part two as support. And I walked into this place in Brussels, in Belgium, not knowing what I'd let myself in for. And we were just going around basically saying, hello, my name is blah, 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 blah. And we walked up to each other and gave each other a great big huge hug. And as we came out of that hug, we said to each other we were going to work together one day. Yeah, and here we are.
Here we are.
Yeah.
And so we have a long story. I have been working with breathwork for more than 26 years or 26 years now. And you have been doing it maybe 24 years or
24 years, something like that now. Yeah,
yeah.
for sure. Yeah.
And breathwork is what made my life change, and I think I've had around 500 breathwork sessions, and it healed a huge amount of trauma for me. And um and for me, breathwork is when you lie down on a mattress and you breathe through and out through the mouth for a period of time, usually between 25 to 60 minutes. And then there's an integration period where you relax, and usually you listen to sounds, music sometimes. And then often during these sessions, I heal the trauma, and I felt really wonderful and relaxed after these breathing sessions. So for me, breath work is lying on a mattress, having my eyes closed, no pillow under my head, mouth open, and then I breathe and go for it.
Yeah.
So that's like the standard breath work session for me. What what
Yeah.
what is like the standard breath work session for you, Geoffrey?
It's very similar. Um, I was looking for maybe 2.5 years before I walked into that place in Belgium and found the breath work, the style of breath work for me, because there are many styles of breath work out there. I mean, back then there was maybe 7 or 8 styles of breath work. Now, I mean, my goodness, if you type in breath work as a Google search, you've got millions of results coming back. And I can remember back then typing in breath work into Google and having like 20 results come back. So you can see over a 20 odd year odd period just how breath work has grown as a healing or transformational modality. Um, so for me, there's two parts to the breathwork session. The first part is a very simple breathing to allow the body to begin to relax and to soften and to feel safe and to open. And then I move into the open mouth breathing that you were talking about for the second part of the session. And again, it runs for, as you say, anywhere from 25 to 25 minutes to 60 minutes. And then we move into an integration period afterwards where I will play some wordless music of some sort or another, or maybe there will be silence. It depends on what I feel the client needs or what becomes apparent. In the breathwork session itself, there can be some physical things where the maybe touching parts of the body to sort of help energy move. For me, what breathwork's about is it's about undoing these energetic knots that we have been given and have been put into our body, mainly without our permission, mainly without our knowing as well, and undoing these knots. And when we undo them, there's a release of energy from that. So a breathwork session can be quite cathartic. I mean, as you well know, a group breathwork session can become very, very zoo-like with all sorts of repercussions coming from that. But they can also be very Zen-like as well. I find a lot of clients I get these days, they tend to have sort of fairly Zen-like sessions for the most part. There's not as much catharsis as there was when I first started to facilitate breathwork sessions. And I think that's a great sign of the times. I think it's showing how much work people are already doing on themselves before they come to breathwork. And breathwork is a tool for me. It's not the answer to everything, which is why I call the style that we practice eclectic breathwork, because we bring all sorts of other wisdom and experience into the breathwork session itself in order to help the client or to help the group. One of the things that I do is I use my shiatsu background quite a bit when I'm working with people in breathwork to work with various sort of sugo points on the meridian lines in the body, for example. Or I work along the chakra lines, the central chakra line in the body there again, also to work with the various energies that you can find around these places in the body. So for me, breathwork is really a tool that provides the potential for transformation and healing of these energetic knots that we carry around that cause us to suffer a great deal, and to allow us to begin to truly understand who we really are and where we've come from. So we remember.
Yeah, and together we have breathe groups of up to 50 people.
I think we've done 200 in Estonia. There was 200 people in that group there.
Yeah,
okay, there were a few other facilitators.
They were all experienced breath workers.
So no, there were several there that had never done breath work before.
In Estonia?
Yeah, in Estonia. There's at least 5 people I know there that had never done breath work before Estonia.
Wow.
Yeah.
But in Denmark we have done like up to 50 people who have never done breath work before. We have done it in companies, IT companies, different companies. So we work with groups, but also we work on individual basis.
Yes.
And some people just feel it's super beneficial to be in a group. And some people feel it's super beneficial to do it individually because they are too distracted by doing the group session because they are listening into the others. And that's one of the secrets when you do it in a group, is to shut off what's going on around you and just focus on your own process.
Yeah. Or to use the fact that what somebody else is doing in the group is really pissing you off and activating you to work with that energy that's coming up because it's ready for working with. That's why it's presenting itself.
Nothing is a coincidence. Everything happens for a reason, and either you benefit from what's going on or you are suffering from what's going on.
Yeah, no, that's very true. Very true indeed. Yeah.
And right now you travel around in Denmark and do sessions.
Yes, I do. I'm based near Kalundborg in West Zealand, but like yesterday I was in Copenhagen at the IFPF center in Østerbro doing an individual session and then later on a group session. And it's a regular group session that I hold there every month on the last Tuesday of the month, part of this much bigger global initiative called the Global Breathing Circle.
And then I know you have been to Jutland also to groups
so
and individual sessions.
Vejle and Hobro are 2 of the places that I've been to there.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm actually willing to go anywhere where people would like to have a breathwork session. Frankly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But and I'm so excited about tapping and thought field therapy. Do you also combine that into your sessions?
Yes, yeah. So it is when I do inner child work, I use tapping at that point in time. So if I'm running an inner child workshop, I combine tapping with breathwork and inner child work, of course. I personally will use it on clients in a session where it feels right for me to be doing that. So not right, logical, rational, right, but intuitively it feels the right thing to be doing. Yeah, so I'll be working on tapping various points on the body during the session itself. Yeah. And it's very, very effective. It's highly effective. It's a very good combination. Is tapping therapy with breath work. Yeah.
And we have had people who have been in very, very good shape, who experienced suddenly that they realized that they had a lot of stock energy in the body. And it's really difficult to understand that even if you are, training a lot, running or rowing or exercising with weights or whatever kind of exercise you do, um, sometimes you have a lot of pent up energy, and in the breathing session you will have a tremendous huge breakthrough when you do
Yeah.
the breathing techniques that Geoffrey and I use.
Yeah.
And we also have a lot of people who have been doing different yoga breathing techniques, who are really, really, really surprised of how yoga breathing compares to this.
Yes.
It's yoga breathing is great, but this is a whole other story.
It is. Yeah. And it's the same with people who've done a lot of meditation, like the Vipassana and other meditation techniques. This is a little bit different. I think the style that we practice, well, the biggest power of it for me is its simplicity. For me, the focus of the session is to provide the best environment that I can for the client to release whatever their body is ready to release at that point in time, in terms of old energies. Like I talk about these energetic knots in the same way that you talk about traumas. So releasing the energy around those knots, undoing those knots, and enabling a different energy flow in the body. And we all have these energy knots, and it doesn't matter whether you are the fittest human being on the planet, or the person who is really deeply struggling with addiction, or PTSD, these types of, like, the other end of the wellness spectrum, if you like. We still all have these energetic knots. As soon as we arrive here, we immediately have an energetic knot of separation. And there is nobody who has arrived here on the planet who has escaped that. Yeah.
Arrival
So
is what we call birth.
yes, it is. Yeah, being born. Yeah, yeah, and
So,
we could probably
so
do a whole
yeah,
video on just that alone.
yeah,
Talking about the different traumas about being born and how we arrive here and what impact it has on us for the rest of our lives and so on.
yeah. Right now, I'm really excited about how well Wim Hof is succeeding in spreading breathwork to the world.
Yeah,
And if you do Wim Hof breathwork, I encourage you to come and experience one of Jeffrey's group sessions the last Tuesday of the month in Österbro, because Wim Hof is fantastic, and the Wim Hof techniques, as our techniques are really founded on ancient old wisdom, so is Wim Hof techniques.
yeah,
But the way we do it in a more open and free way is so different. And
it is.
I think I remember when I met Wim Hof, I asked him, do you know which of your people are in breathers or out breathers? And he was like one big question mark. And I realized that even though he's super skilled and knows a lot, we put a super different angle onto breath work. And And I think, you know, doing his exercises in combination with how we work with breath work is super, super good.
Yeah. I mean, I think our style of breath work actually is I talk about it as a tool. You know, it is not necessarily the solution in itself. It is just something that you can add to what you are already doing. You know, my friend Helgi Brainer, who is a very, very good psychotherapist and also does family constellation work. And he is always amazed at how well family constellation work and breath work fits together. So I think it's this, because what we do is, because our style is so simple and not complicated. We're not asking people to get into their heads and understand a huge load of theory or anything like that. It's really about just, we ask people to follow their breathing, to focus on their breathing, to bring their attention to their breathing, and just to be willing to trust and allow their body to release whatever it's ready to release at that point in time. And I think that is a very powerful combination with a lot of other healing modalities that are out there. Whether you're a psychotherapist, whether you are working in HR in a big company, or whether you're, you know, doing athletic fitness at sort of very high levels, or whether you're just working in a particular area where it's good to sort of clear the stress out of the body, because that's one of the other things that comes from this style of breath work. Is every client that I have had, and it's got to be hundreds and hundreds of clients, have all remarked how calm and peaceful they feel at the end of the session, irrespective of everything else that may have come up, irrespective of whatever new insights or understandings that have come up in that session. They all say it's calm and peaceful. So there's less stress in the body. They're more open. And that means then that they can go back into whatever it is they're doing with much greater focus on what it is that they're trying to do in their lives, which they couldn't do before because there was all the stress flying around and distracting them.
So if I want to be peaceful after every session and also experience being the facilitator of breath work and experience my clients having this peace after a session, then you have this 1-year training.
Yep, it's a 9-month training actually, but it takes place over a 12-month period. And essentially, it's a pretty intensive. What I think I've been able to do, what I feel I've been able to do, is to sort of take 18 months and compress that down into 9 months. So it's fairly intense. It's an education that takes place once a month, and it's residential. We come together as a small group, a small family, if you like, and we walk this process, which starts in November each year, following sort of the same energy pattern that the Earth is following at that stage. So in November, of course, beginning of November, everything is shutting down in nature. It's all going back into deep underground to prepare for the cold days of winter. And so we start at the beginning by looking into ourselves more deeply to try and understand, as I put it, what our stuff is. So by the end of that 9-month training, you know what your stuff is. You know what triggers your stuff. We also, of course, look into many different aspects of breath work, different breathing techniques. We do an awful lot of breath work. We eat an awful lot of very good food, vegetarian food, I might add. And why is it important to know what your stuff is? Because if when you're working with a client, whatever's coming out from the client activates you, then the danger is that you end up with a client breathing into your stuff. So at the end, you as the unwitting facilitator feel really good about the session, but you end up with a client who's as confused as hell and doesn't know what's gone on because they've been breathing into your stuff rather than yours. So it's developing this ability to recognize I've been activated. and to be able to take that and, as it were, not throw it away, but to put it on one side so that it doesn't impact on the quality of the session for the client. So that's why we spend 2 or 3 months looking into what our stuff is. We go through where the stuff has come from, how that stuff has been reinforced, revalidated. We do energy work during the course of the 9 months. And at the end of it, you will be able to breathe other people. So one-on-one sessions is basically where that first 9 months education takes you.
So how many days is it every month?
It's basically we come together on the Friday afternoon and we finish on the Sunday afternoon. So it's a full weekend. Yeah.
2.5 days every month.
2.5 days every month. And then in between times, we have, of course, there's homework. And we have a regular weekly check-in. So a Zoom meeting where we will come in, and we also have a private messaging system, which is just for the people in the group that particular year to be able to ask questions and pose problems and share whatever's going on for them at that point in time. And of course, there is the manual, which is, I don't know what it's standing at in terms of number of pages at the moment. It varies from year to year because it's constantly evolving. So last year means that we'll change it for the upcoming year and so on. And to a certain extent, it's also customized for the particular group that's going through that year, because each group is very, very different to the previous years.
So if you should give an advice, what do you have, a small exercise or?
Yeah, for me, the most powerful breathwork exercise I know is the simplest. And that is just simple conscious breathing. And it's something that it's how I start a breathwork session these days. And it's something that I ask all of my clients to just do for 5 minutes each morning when they wake up, sit on the side of the bed and just do conscious breathing. And conscious breathing is not so much a breathing exercise or a pattern. It's simply about bringing your attention to the physical sensation of breathing. So as we breathe in, we pull in cool air to the body. So it's again just focusing on that feeling of the cool air flowing in. And similarly, as we breathe out, focusing on the physical feeling of the warmer air leaving the body. And that's it. You just breathe that way, holding your attention there. And if you drift off, it's okay. Just gently bring your attention back to feeling that physical sensation of the air as it moves in and out of the body.
Do I focus on the whole body or on the nose?
It depends how you're breathing. So some people breathe in and out through the mouth. Some breathe in through the nose and out through the nose. Some breathe in through the nose and out through the mouth. You're not changing how you're breathing. You're just simply bringing your attention to the physical feeling of the breathing.
So I focus on the breathing and become really aware of the air moving in and out of my body.
Yeah. It's basically focused breathing, but it's conscious breath. I call this a conscious breath, yeah. And
I should do it once a day for how long?
I'd say a minimum of 5 minutes, and do it for 7 days. And just see the difference it makes. So if you check the day before you start, wake up in the morning, just notice how you feel. And then the next day you start doing this for 5 minutes each day. And at the end of 7 days, wake up in the morning and just look back and compare. What is the difference? How's my day been transformed by this little 5-minute practice that I'm doing each morning? Of course, if you want to do it for 10 minutes or 15 minutes or 20 minutes or an hour, that's fine too. But 5 minutes, I would say, is the minimum. And
so if you want to transform yourself or your clients, get in contact with you.
Yes, please. Yep. You can see my website address in the bottom of the screen there.
geoffreysmith.eu.
Yeah. If you're interested in the breathwork facilitator education, then you can go to another website, which is afgo.eu, where you can find out lots of details there, but you can also find out the same details on my website too. Plus, you can see on my website, geoffreysmith.eu, all the events that I've got lined up coming up, including the group breathwork session in Osterwell each month. You can also contact me through the websites as well.
Yeah, or you can get in contact with me and I will get you in contact with Geoffrey.
Yeah. Or you can have a breathwork session with him too, because Lars Mugen is my breathwork teacher for his sins.
Once. In a galaxy far, far away many years ago.
It certainly seems like it sometimes.
It's so interesting, yeah. For a short while, I was your Yoda.
Yeah. Mate, you still are my Yoda.
Oh, thank you. So thank you for talking, Geoffrey.
Thank you,
Bye-bye.
Lars. Lovely to see you. Take care. Bye.